So in this video, I'm going to speak on why I started my own business. So the first reason in which I started my own business is because I don't like spending my entire day driving. Now, that may not be the case for all of you, but I spend an unreasonable amount of time driving. Now, I live in Atlanta, and I live 23 miles away from my job. And if you know anything about Atlanta, you know that 23 miles means almost an hour or an hour plus driving. Sometimes it was an hour and a half. Like today, I spent an hour and a half driving one way. That's one way. So that's probably one of the largest factors when it comes down to working my 9 to 5, in which I started my business. Because spending almost 3 hours in the car, round trip, going back and forth to work, and working 8 hours, and going to the gym, and spending time with my son, spending time with my girlfriend, working on my craft, making content, doing all of these things takes a large amount of time. You have to be extremely organized. And the minute you fall victim to any of your vices, watching TV, you know, you know, any vice you may have. And I'm not going to speak on vices too much because everybody has different vices and hopefully you don't have any. But they take time. And the minute you become distracted is when your goals start to get pushed back. So for me, one of the obvious solutions in combating this problem was starting my business. Now, some of you may think, oh, you could just find another job. However, I like what I do and where I work at. So I went to school for chemistry. I got my bachelor's in chemistry. I like my work that I do. I think it's fulfilling. However, I don't think that I'm able to fulfill my purpose, which will bring me into my next point. However, I'm not done speaking about the first one. But, like I said, driving this much to my job is very taxing, and it's just unreasonable some days. Some days if you're just behind the wheel, just gripping that steering wheel because people are driving crazy, and yeah, it's not fun. So, and I hear that the best motivator, or the largest motivating thing for you to grow and start your business is working a job that drives you crazy in some way. And this aspect of my life definitely drives me crazy. So that's number one. Number two is, like I said, fulfillment. I like what I do, but I do not feel like I am fulfilling my life purpose working this job. I feel like I was put here to help other people. When I was a TA in college, one of the best experiences that I had was teaching a class or being a teaching assistant, TA. That was a great experience for me. I was able to answer questions, and honestly, I never felt a sense of superiority to the students in which I was helping. I don't know if you guys have had that experience, but I have had the experience of when you ask somebody for help and they're so smart, it almost seems condescending when they help you. I have tried my best to never be that way when helping any of my students or helping anybody who comes to me for assistance. Because to me, that is the most frustrating thing, is when I'm reaching out to you. I already feel vulnerable. And then you nudge me even further in a direction of, embarrassment or insecurity or whatever it is, because now you're making me feel, dumb, or, whatever term you want to use, because they understand something and you don't. So I always tried my best to break things down to a level which was digestible for everybody. And that's just my approach. And I feel like I can pass the information that I have now with business on to other entrepreneurs, especially people who are not familiar with the web and social media, and just getting the business online. Now, me, I still have a lot to learn. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know everything about business and this and that when I don't. Life is all about growing and constant learning. You're never going to know it all. And there will always be areas in which you can improve. So handle it. Get after it and make a commitment. Make a decision every day that you will show up and be fully invested in whatever you choose to do. And for me, I want to help people. The very first website I built was for a photographer out here in the Atlanta area. Now, this was a man that has spent thousands of dollars on photography equipment. And he shows up to many different events in the Atlanta area and helps these people and takes photos and edits these photos. I mean, he does a really good job on his work, and he doesn't get paid for it. And I've seen him doing that. I'm like, man, we should work together, and let's get you a website, and let's figure out price packaging, and let's figure out all these different things so that you can start making money off your business. And seeing the passion behind his eyes and how happy he was to get started and to turn this into something bigger than what it was exciting to me. And that's when I realized that I can turn this skill that I have, that I've been working on, into something that gives me fulfillment ultimately. And it's not even about the money, but I feel happy when I help other people. And I feel like I can help a lot of people in this way. So my last reason is imagination. And now, if you work a 9-to-5 job, you know that your job has certain requirements that you meet. And a lot of times, imagination isn't one of those requirements. You can't just show up to work and just start doing this because you want to do it. You can't just show up and say, hey, boss, I have this vision. I seen it last night in my dream, and I want to start doing X, Y, Z. I know it's outside of my job description, but I'm going to do it anyway. He's going to look at you like you're crazy. So you have to show up and do what you said you were going to do, the agreement. You agreed to get paid X amount of dollars for doing X amount of work, and that's it. They expect you to complete your part of the agreement, and they will complete theirs. Like that's how work is. So you can't just show up and start doing stuff because you have this vision or passion. So oftentimes imagination isn't always respected or valued in the workplace. And in some workplaces, it may even be frowned upon, depending on where you work and what you do. So ultimately, that is what prompted me to start my own business. And which is why I spend so much time focusing on growing my skills and becoming better and becoming sharper and reaching out to different people who may need my services. Now, by any means, you do not have to use my services. You can go and build your website with anybody else. There are a bunch of web developers out there who can help get your business online and get you a spectacular looking website. And if I can't build the website you need, I will point you in the direction of somebody who can. Me taking your money is not the end goal.